Hi everyone, I'm Autistic Ange. This is a podcast for adults who recently found out that they're autistic and are looking for other autistic people like them. So today I'm going to talk about just how everything is harder for me to do. From what I'm learning, it seems like autistic people struggle with a variety of things much more than ordinary people do, which is true for me because everything is harder for me. Before I learned that I'm autistic, I was aware on some level that shit was just hard and that I seemed to struggle a bit more than people, most people maybe, with like lots of things. And now that I know I'm autistic, this is actually hilarious to me and something I completely accept because at least now I know why it takes me forever to do shit. Hopefully somebody out there can relate, maybe. All right. So let's go through a rundown, see what I can remember. Let's see. How about opening trash bags? I don't lick my finger to open it like a lot of people probably do because I don't want to chance putting COVID in my mouth. No COVID in my mouth. So I run my finger underwater really quick and open the bag. But sometimes I can't figure out which is the right end to open depending on what brand we bought. So like today I went to get a small trash bag for the trash can in my room, and two of them I somehow managed to accidentally rip in half. So I would like to blame whoever packaged them, but it was probably me. Walking outside in the sun is very hard for me. I think I've talked about this a little bit before. I'm instantly blinded. I don't wear sunglasses because I wear actual glasses, and I don't have transition lenses because I've had them before and did not like them. So I walk like I just woke up or something, and I rub my eyes like a vampire. Plus me and heat don't get along, which I think I've mentioned that too. Also, like driving when it's sunny is very hard for me. Doesn't matter if the sun is in front of me, behind me, to the left, to the right. It glares no matter how I try to block it. And even on cloudy days, sometimes like it's just too light outside. So I drive with like that sunblocker thing pulled down. Also, it's hard for me to drive in the dark because I have a hard time seeing when it's dark. And speaking of driving, since I was the outcast of the family, my brother, who is a year and a half younger than me, was allowed to get his permit and his license before me. He got tons of practice time. I did not. I did well enough to pass my driving test, but, I didn't get to drive very much until I moved out and was on my own. So I grew up in Japan on a military base. I was okay driving on base because you pretty much go 30 miles an hour like everywhere. But off base was so much traffic and signs. I couldn't read them. They were in Japanese. So much traffic, so many signs. No, thank you. And I remember always being in awe of like anybody that came from any other country that came to Japan and for the very first time and were able to drive like a local after just a few months. Yet I lived there for most of my childhood and I sucked at driving. Like I lived there a total of 16 years because we left for 3 years and then went back. So, and I took Japanese in college thinking it'd be easy to take because I knew how to write some and speak some, but yeah, nope. Then, let's see, then I go into the military and get stationed in England. And in England, the driving rules seemed pretty much the same as in Japan, but again, I just much prefer driving on base because it was easier, but I lived off base about 45 minutes away, and that took a long time to get down, like, without getting lost. And, like, that was back when, like, everybody used MapQuest. Like, how the fuck are you supposed to drive and read directions at the same time? Then I came to the States, and I learned a different way of driving, which wasn't too bad. I think the driving tester person felt sorry for me or something because like I really should not have passed. I couldn't even parallel park. I still can't. I haven't even tried in years. I know that's a common difficulty to have, but I really think like my depth perception or whatever it's called must suck because like I hit like somebody I worked with, they were like in a supervisory position. I hit her car trying to parallel park one time, and that was the last time I tried to parallel park. Oh, and I was going to a friend's house. This was years ago when I was in England. I was going over to a friend's house, and parking was behind her house. So when I drove on the side of it to get to the back, I scraped a lot of the paint off of both the house and my car. Why? Does nobody ask? Nobody out there's probably asking. But I'll tell you, because I just kept going. I heard the screeching sound of metal on stone, and instead of immediately stopping, I just kept on driving until I got to the back and parked. So yeah, the actual driving part really isn't that difficult for me. It's when there are more lanes and cars when I start panicking. And driving in unfamiliar places, getting lost, all that stuff puts me in a panic too. Like I drive around town, but my wife drives us pretty much everywhere. She likes to drive too. Hold on. This damn dry mouth. Let's see. Opening things. Oh my God. Opening pretty much anything takes longer, even if they're like tear here and there's that little cut. I can't get it to tear sometimes. Boxes, like what the fuck, man? Like I tear that to shreds just to get to the inside. Like I don't know why I can't open a box. Boxes of cereal. The bag inside the cereal box. Stuff that's in like hard plastic, like tools. Anything packaged, anything wrapped. That's a chore sometimes. Most of the time. Well, yeah, most of the time. Walking, very difficult. If I'm not speed walking, I'm walking like I'm drunk. And for some reason, speed walking, I walk just fine. But walking normal, it's like I'm drunk. Sometimes I don't have balance and I teeter to the side. I do fall sometimes. Not in public. That's usually like when I'm getting going for the day and I'd been sleeping for, hours, and I get up and it takes a while to get things working. And I cannot remember the last time I did not have a single bruise on my body because I walk into everything. Furniture, walls. I just trip all the time, especially outside. And moving my body quickly for a long period of time is always hard. Which I still don't like saying that because that just sounds weird. I don't do running because I trip. And I don't like running because it's fucking boring. Organized exercise, not my thing. Like no gym. I used to go because I thought that's what adults are supposed to do, but I hated it. I overheated too quickly. It always took me longer to figure out how to use equipment. And then I had to remember which temporary locker I used because all the freaking locks look the same. So like I would go to one and try to stick my key in it and it wouldn't like unlock because obviously it wasn't mine. But like I'd always think that if somebody saw that, like they would think I was trying to break into somebody else's locker and take their shit. Let's see. Snow blowing. If you're laughing, that I can't hear you, so that's good that I can't hear you, but snow blowing is hard for me. I can't believe I'm saying this. I can never ever figure those freaking machines out, and when I do, the thing gets clogged with snow, it stops moving. No thank you. I've used it now and again, when there's like a foot or more, I'm definitely not going to try to shovel that, but yeah, I just shovel the majority of the time. I don't care. I know how to use a shovel, pretty easy. Can't go wrong there. Speaking in general is harder for me. Let's it's much easier with people I know and like I talk to regularly, but I just like blank sometimes when I talk to someone I don't know. All of a sudden, I forget all the words in the world. None in my head, none coming out of my mouth. Like we were at a store looking for, like looking at a piece of furniture a few months ago, and we wanted to know if like they had something else in the back, that we were looking at. So I go to this desk and there's like a handful of people there sitting on the millions of chairs and couches in that section that were for sale. I was asked to have a seat until somebody became available, and when they did and they asked me what my question was, I completely forgot it for a full 5 seconds. And that probably doesn't sound like very long, but like in autism land, it's like 5 years, and it's embarrassing. God. Technology's harder for me. Like I'll wait till something's been out for years before I get it, and then by then it's cheap because better things have come out and replaced it. But when I figure out how to operate something, I'm like, wow, this whatever that came out 5 years ago and that I'm not just now using is amazing. It's been out for so many years, but to me it's amazing because I've never gotten to use it before. Also, yeah, I'll just keep using something until it breaks, even if like the better things do come out. Like for example, I was using an iPhone 6 up until about a month ago. And that iPhone's battery was so shitty. If I kept the phone in an air-conditioned room, it would die. When I charged it, if I played like even one game for 2 minutes, it went down to 50%. So yeah, I mean, it still worked though, but then it really started not working and I had to get a new phone. So yeah, everything social is absolutely harder. And I have a whole episode for that. Going to stores is harder for me because of all the people and the sensory overload. I'm not okay with going to the grocery store on a Saturday or Sunday. So like I'll wait till Monday when everybody's back at work, or I'll use Instacart. I know some autistic people wear headphones in stores, but I don't like doing that because like I need to know, like I need to hear what's going on around me. So if I didn't, I wouldn't like that. Getting adequate sleep seems much harder, I think, since I'm autistic. Or at least I think that's the explanation I have now for why my sleeping patterns are messed up. They always have been my whole life. So since I work from home now, most days I go to bed around 3 a.m. I get up at 10 or 11. I just find that I'm more productive when the sun goes down. Like, imagine that. And the majority of the time, I have to force myself to go to sleep, even when I don't want to, or like I'm not naturally tired. Like my mind is always going, and I want to keep doing all the things. So like I alternate between melatonin and Benadryl, and surprisingly, like marijuana doesn't really help me sleep. So that's weird. Because I thought it helped everybody sleep. Let's see. And I cannot just get up and go in the morning like some people seem perfectly capable of doing. I don't even know if that's a normal thing that people do. I don't know. But like, for example, like my wife can get out of bed, get ready for work and shower, and be at work within half an hour. Like, what the fuck? There's like no way I can do that. Like, it takes a lot longer than 30 minutes for me to even begin to function like a human being. Like, even, like working from home, I can't just dive right into my work right after I wake up. Like, no, that can't happen. Hopefully you guys aren't hearing me sip, because that's gross. But I'm trying to keep this dry mouth thing in check as best I can. Because I really don't want to gross people out. How about finding anything for me? Like, finding things is a chore. Usually, like, I've passed over it a few times, but my mind hasn't registered, or my eyes haven't registered that that's the item I'm looking at and looking for. So, like, whenever I'm asked for help, like, looking for something that somebody misplaced, like, I feel super anxious because I know 9 times out of 10, I'm not going to be able to find it. Cooking is hard. Do not like it. I'll just make shit that takes like no longer than 5 minutes, 10 maybe. I love like the pre-made things that the stores sell that just require heating up. I mean, I don't eat like Hungry Man nasty shit like that. Like those frozen dinners, I do not eat those. Those are gross. Um, let's see. Doing yeah, just doing anything seems to take longer than it does for ordinary people, like from my perspective at least. Like I've learned through doing research that autistic people process things differently too, which is like, pretty much the main component. And like I know I need to think about something a lot longer before I can respond to it, which is why I used to hate being called on in class because, like, I couldn't ever think of shit on the spot. Like, I just froze in panic. The entire class was looking at me, like, to see if I knew the answer, and I didn't, and I always hated that. And clothing, like, wearing clothes, it's not that hard anymore, but it actually was for, like, yeah, for years. Like, I hated wearing work clothes because you had to look nice, and I never felt comfortable. This was out of the military. I just never felt comfortable in like that kind of clothing, like ever. Putting outfits together, that was not fun. Like, I didn't even give a shit. But like what I do now is I just wear the same brand of t-shirts. I have one for every day of the week, and they're solid colors of black and gray. I wear shorts all the time, except sweats outside when it's cold. But inside it's always shorts because like I feel pretty claustrophobic with pants and long sleeved shirts. So I wear the same type of shorts with those same t-shirts every day, same brand of socks and everything else. Like if I find something that fits just right, which is like so hard to find. But if I find something that fits just right, that is all I'll wear. Like, yes, now I know I can get multiples of those things. So I have done that and I will continue to do that. So, yeah, recently, I've been able to make this area a bit easier for myself. And let's see, like, even though I thrive on checklists, I can't understand directions that come with things that need to be put together. Like IKEA shit. Like, I love me some good pictures in those directions, but I have a hard time even with those. Like, some of the screws look the same, even if they're labeled, like, properly. Sometimes they actually are not labeled properly. Like, what tool is this that I'm supposed to use? Why does it have to be this detailed? Putting this shit together. Like, why couldn't it have already been made so people don't have to waste time like this? Like most times if I had to put stuff together, like I would just wing it, like, and it never worked. But like now my wife puts everything together because she likes, I guess, doing that shit and she's good at it. This is like I don't know, sitting. Does anybody out there find it hard to sit? Still, I guess I should say, sit still. So like the only time I've ever sat still is when like I've been sick. Like that's not moving anything except my eyes. No, like, because otherwise something needs to be in constant motion, swinging my leg, fidgeting with something. Those things don't bother me. It's just the only way I can sit and pay attention. So as long as I'm doing something with my hands. Also, I just read something last week that said that many autistic people have unusual ways of sitting comfortably, which is so true for me because I am comfortable with like a leg on the wall, like I'm on the couch or something, and a leg's on the wall, and then another leg is like on the ottoman, and my arms are just wherever. Like I just have these odd ways of sitting. I never knew why I felt comfortable in these odd positions, but like I learned that this is like an autistic thing. So yeah, I do not feel alone in this now. Cutting vegetables is very slow going for me because like I have a tendency to cut myself if I go too fast. Like I just can't. I can't go fast. I don't know how people do that. Like today I made soup and it took probably double the time for me to cut up the veggies than it would like an ordinary person. I'm not sure like if it falls into the category of poor coordination or not. Yeah. But everything is just so much harder. It takes me longer. requires me to think more. Information processes at different rates and speeds than ordinary people. Like, I mean, all this to say, I think being autistic is very, very cool. I'm happy to be autistic, because I have an explanation for my entire life. I think that was some dry mouth I clicked. Hold on. God, I gotta figure this issue out. But anyways, like, why does it take longer to process things, like, or to just do basic shit? Like, I tell my wife that being autistic, like, once I found that out, it's like I feel like I stuck my finger in a socket, like, zzz, like my wiring is off, everything's fucked up. I don't know. Hopefully somebody out there can relate. Yeah, that's all I got. So, yeah, this was me recording into an app on my phone. I hope people find me and listen to me and maybe relate. Maybe let me know some of the things that they got going on so I don't feel completely alone in my weirdness. So, thanks for listening, and goodbye.